Oh, we're going to pretend that it's still January the 5th, and I just finished my seventh book of the year, which is In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. I would probably give this one like a 3 star, and the reason why is because it didn't have any romance. I've just noticed I'm definitely like a romance person, and this one just didn't have any romance, so that's why it's not better than that. Um, in the beginning, I was like, this is interesting, so I don't want to DNF it because I want to see what happens. Plus, I've given 5 stars to Ruth Ware books before, and so I was not going to DNF it, even though I kind of could have if I had wanted to. It's definitely not a bad book. Thrillers are just kind of my least favorite of the genres that I do enjoy, unless it's kind of like an atmospheric thriller or like you're on the run and there's lots of different red herrings going on and all that kind of stuff, and I'm really trying to figure it out. So like a mystery type thriller, like there's a murderer on the loose and you got to figure out who the murderer is. So this one is a figuring out what went down. It's told in 2 different time periods, so it goes back and forth. It's linear in that you do get the scenes in order, but it's like every other scene is a different time period. So she wakes up in a hospital, so that's the second time period. It's not like an actual different like century or something. Um, so she's in the hospital and she's been in a bad car wreck and she's all scraped up and bruised, and she overhears some detectives outside of the door saying, so it's a murder now, like it's a murder investigation now. And so she's like, oh crap, who died? The doctors won't tell her. The police won't tell her because they want to get her uninfluenced version of events. And she has some memory loss because of the, traumatic car accident. The other time period that we are going on is her going to her old friend. So they knew each other since she was 5 years old, but they had a falling out when she was 16. And you do get to find out why. And I thought the why was very interesting. And it does play into the motivations of why the crime seems to be kind of pinned on her at one point. And so, yeah, it was very interesting. There was more than one character that you could have assumed might have had something to do with it. And there's even points where she starts to doubt herself because she is getting her memories back, but they're in like disconnected flashes. And so she's trying to piece everything together. And so, yeah, there's a couple of different people you could assume, did the murder. And also, for a while, you're trying to figure out who actually died. But anyway, so the other point of view is her going to this ex friend's kind of like extended bachelorette party. So it's like 3 days in a cabin in the woods, and it's made of glass. So it's already kind of a little bit creepy. She starts to see footsteps in the snow, which makes her think someone is creeping around. And there is a history of the house when it was first built. It actually got burnt down because the neighbors were not happy about them being there. And so, yeah, there's a couple of things going on where you're like, okay, what is going to happen in this book? A lot of it revolves around um, her ex, who she winds up finding out is the person that this ex friend is marrying. And so that's why she was invited to this party. That is a little bit of a spoiler, but I don't mind giving that because it adds to me talking about the book. There's a lot of awkward moments throughout where they are mentioning the ex and they do like a party game where they're doing trivia on this guy, and it gets very uncomfortable for her because she knows all of the answers and some of the questions are very inappropriate. and put her in a bad situation. She was invited to the bachelorette party, but she was not invited to the wedding. So the reason why she's not invited to the wedding is because, the girl is getting married to her ex and basically the first love of her life. So, yeah, I did like the ending. It made sense to me. It wasn't an open ending. A lot of times, sometimes in Ruth Ware's, there is an open ending, but you kind of think you know what happened, but you don't really know for sure. Or there's like a tiny clue where if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't understand the ending. But if you were paying attention, then you would have your answer. This one is not like that. This one, you know definitively who, what, when, where, how, why. You know all of those answers. So if you've steered away from Ruth Ware before, because you've heard that they have kind of open endings and you want a closed ending to get to discover her work, then I would recommend this for that. It is a little bit of a slower book because it's just like her getting invited and deciding to go to this thing despite being estranged from this woman. And then the 3 days. And then, of course, the whole hospital thing and trying to figure things out. So I did spoil a bit of it. It's going to make it maybe a little bit of a slower read because now you know why she was invited, why she wasn't invited to the wedding. Um, but yeah, again, I would say this is like a 3-star. There's not a crap ton of stuff that's happening in the book, but if you want something that's kind of a simple read, it's not really going to necessarily have you guessing that much because there's just not any real strong, like red herrings and multiple events happening. There's like one event, which is the murder. So yeah. Uh, but yeah, there were some really entertaining parts that I liked. There is representation in this book as well. There is two queer relationships in the book. Um, you don't really see them in the book because the two people that are in it that are queer are not together. So their partners are outside of the story room. So you never actually physically get introduced to them. But I thought I'd mention that in case that's something that you look for in books. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. Yeah, today I am reading The Program by Susanna Young. I'm already about 40% through, so I do plan on finishing it today and giving you a review. So yeah, today is technically the 6th now as I'm filming this, but I did finish this on the 5th, so I'm doing really good. I'm 2 books ahead of schedule. All right, I will see all of you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!